Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including new Cybertruck details, the rough road ahead for EV startups, Tesla's new Megapack factory, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, we've recently talked about the ongoing EV price war caused by Tesla's recent price cuts. All over the world, Tesla dropped their prices significantly by about 20% globally, and this has pressured other automakers to follow suit. They initially cut the cost of the Model Y from $65,990 down to $52,990 in the US, presumably to make it qualify for the EV tax credit that capped some specs of the Model Y at $55,000. They also cut prices in other markets too at the same time. Tesla announced a few days ago that they would be slashing prices in Taiwan and South Korea as well. In Taiwan, the performance Model Y has dropped by about $7,400 USD and the long range by about $6,000 USD. The Model 3 rear-wheel drive dropped by about $2,000 USD, the long range by about $5,000, and the performance by about $6,700. South Korea has seen comparable price drops. As for the Model Y in the US, though, that low price didn't last long. A few weeks after dropping it, they raised the price $500 back up to $53,490, and now they increased it again, this time by another $1,500 for the all-wheel drive standard range model. I predicted a couple videos ago that this might happen since the IRS changed their guidelines to cap the Model Y price at $80,000 to qualify, and it happened right around the same time I was putting that up. While this means any Model Y now qualifies for a $7,500 tax credit if you qualify personally, it unfortunately also means they can pretty much raise the price up to $80,000 if they wanted to. The only question now is how much are people willing to pay. They no longer have an MSRP cap to worry about, so I wouldn't be surprised if more price increases come in the near future. However, at the same time, the Model 3 is still capped at $55,000, so they can only raise the Y so much until it just doesn't make sense. Along with the recent increase in price for the Model Y, Tesla actually dropped the price of the Model 3 in the US, which is great to see. The standard range Model 3 has dropped to $43,490, with the performance staying at $53,490. Presumably, once the long-range Model 3 arrives again, it will be right around $50,000 or slightly less. There have been rumors of a Model 3 refresh coming soon for a while now, so that may explain why Tesla is dropping this price. Potentially, they're clearing out the vehicles they're currently making before making a big change, or they are already seeing cost savings on manufacturing upgrades that allow them to charge less. The Model Y is Tesla's most popular vehicle and is quickly becoming one of the most popular vehicles in the world. In 2022, the Model Y was the 6th best-selling vehicle in America, but the Model 3 was just behind it in 13th place, selling 211,643 units. Last week, I talked about the Model Y becoming the 4th best-selling car in the world by revenue, selling 758,792 units, an 88.5% increase from the previous year. Now, the Model 3 is the 3rd best-selling car in Australia. As you can see from this graphic from The Driven, Tesla dominated the Australian EV space in January, with the Model 3 and Model Y selling more units than all the other EV makers combined. Again, this is likely, at least partially, due to Tesla's recent price cuts around the world that I mentioned earlier, making the Model 3 more attainable for many customers. Over in China, Tesla's China-made vehicle sales increased 18% from December to January, and they are ramping production back up to meet this new demand. Tesla had seen rising inventory in December, but now it's looking like they're having the opposite problem. Reuters reported last week that, quote, the automaker plans to produce a weekly average of nearly 20,000 units at its Shanghai factory in February and March, according to a planning memo. Giga Shanghai isn't the only Tesla factory ramping up, though. Tesla recently released a video from their Megapack factory in Lathrop, California, where they produced the Megapack 2XL. This is the latest generation of batteries offered by Tesla Energy and is designed for scaling, using the same core thermal components used on Tesla vehicles. In the video, they say that they can produce a Megapack every 68 minutes, which would equate to 10,000 megapacks per year in ideal circumstances. That would add up to 40 gigawatts of storage capacity, which was the goal for that factory back in 2021. This is exciting to see, and I'm definitely happy to see Tesla achieving their goals in energy storage, which will be key to converting the world to clean energy on a massive scale. Next up today, we've seen the Cybertruck pop up a lot in the last few weeks. About a week ago, Elon said, I was just reviewing the production beta Cybertruck, it is incredible. And then on Tesla's earnings call, their head of engineering said the ramp will really come 2024. On February 2nd, we saw one driving around with a full tonneau cover and new triangular side mirrors, and Elon's response to this was, yeah, still many small tweaks to make it better, and the side mirrors are removable by owner, but this is very close to production design. Some have pointed out that the taillights now look different as well. The next day, Tesla North posted a few photos of the Cybertruck with silver wheels and carrying cargo that appeared to be 8 large tires. This one had large side mirrors, though. The last one we saw was posted by Tesla owners Silicon Valley, parked at Tesla headquarters next to 2 Model 3s that were rumored to be part of Project Highland, since they're very much covered up and hiding something. Now there's been another sighting with another update. Previously, many Tesla fans were concerned over the lack of light bar that had been spotted. In a tweet, Tesla owners of Silicon Valley brought this to Elon's attention, posting, "The red light bar looks 100 times better in my opinion," along with a comparison of the 2 prototypes. Personally, I do think it looks better with the full bar, and just having those small taillights looks a little small on this very large truck. Elon then responded to that post, though, affirming that, quote, "Production will have red light bar." So it will be interesting to see how many prototypes we're seeing and how many small things are actually going to end up changed on the final version. When he said there were still many tweaks left to be made, he definitely wasn't lying. Last summer, he announced that they will be adding rear wheel steering so it can do tight turns and maneuver with high agility, but they only shared a quick glimpse of it in a short video. A few days ago, though, Tokyo Tesla posted a new video of the Cybertruck demonstrating 4-wheel steering, and it's pretty cool. As it turns around the column, you can see the back wheels pivot to assist in tightening the turning radius. This will definitely be a helpful feature in a massive truck like this, making it much easier to navigate around small areas. My main concern with this truck is that it's much bigger than people expect and will be difficult to park, so this will definitely help out there. Regarding production, we finally did get an update from Elon in a tweet. He reiterated that production is on schedule for this year, saying, "Very hard car to build, as it is unlike any other, but as stated publicly, Cybertruck production starts this year." This deadline has been pushed back numerous times, and I usually take comments like these from Elon with a grain of salt, but it's looking like we might actually be approaching production, and we may be seeing Cybertrucks on the road very soon. Next up today, there are a lot of great EV startups out there, but the 2 main ones that we hear about are Rivian and Lucid. That's because these companies have actually shipped vehicles to customers in some form of scale. Now though, as a result of Tesla, it's becoming even more difficult for companies like these to gain market share. Right now, both Lucid and Rivian are money-losing companies. They do not profit, so having to compete with a company that profits and can drop prices at the drop of a hat is increasingly difficult. As detailed in a new article by Reuters, quote, "Both Rivian and Lucid have yet to turn a profit. Together, they delivered more than 24,000 cars last year, with Rivian spending more money on making each car than the selling price of that vehicle. The company's cost of goods sold was about 2.7 times its revenue in the last reported quarter, while Lucid's cost of revenue was about 2.5 times its sales. This chart shows the massive gap in sales figures comparing these companies as well. It makes sense since Rivian and Lucid are essentially where Tesla was around 8 years ago or so, but it's hard to compete with regardless. The advantages Rivian and Lucid have are cash. Quote, "Rivian had $13.8 billion in cash at the end of the 3rd quarter, the most among the US EV startups. Lucid had the second highest cash reserves with $1.26 billion, and it raised another $1.52 billion in the 4th quarter. So they have a runway to figure things out with, but things were supposed to get easier, and Tesla just made it harder." Dan Ives, a well-known analyst from Wedge, said, quote, "It's a Game of Thrones battle for EV startups, and they face some dire options over the next 12 to 18 months if they do not succeed in their financial targets. We would expect some losers that face the prospect of consolidation or possibly worse on the horizon. We should get more details on this once we see financials from Rivian and Lucid releasing later this month. Here's a chart of EV prices stacking up against Tesla. Important to note that the Fisker Ocean base price has yet to arrive and likely won't for a long time. These new price drops make the start of production for Fisker that much more difficult. The drop for the Fisker Ocean pricing encouraged people to wait for that car, but for those that need an EV now, there's other options to buy. What I find most interesting here is that essentially every company working on electric cars is in this position. Ford's chief customer officer for the Model E program, their electric vehicle program, recently confirmed that they're in the same position as Rivian or Lucid. Quote, "We are not profitable at this moment. We've committed to being profitable in 26. We're currently on the plan. Ford as a whole is profitable and throwing off cash that enables us to make that investment. We're investing in a new part of our business. We're investing in new products. We will do that, and we can do that." The advantage that Ford has here is that they have a business aside from electric cars, but it does set them up in a very weird position. While they're talking about going mostly electric, they need to make money and can't simply go 3 years losing everything. GM is in the same position. They essentially only talk about EVs right now, but they won't be profitable on EVs until 2025 if all goes well. They need the other parts of their business profiting at least until that point. So they're in the same position as Rivian and Lucid, Lucid, but rather than burning through cash, they are burning through cash that they make in their established businesses. That could be shrinking though as more and more customers decide to go electric. So this is affecting all companies trying to make EVs. Tesla is ramping up and able to make cars cheaper than anyone else, but it's also massively affecting used car companies. Carvana is a prime example. Carvana had a rough time when the used vehicle market was blowing up last year. Quote, used car prices were skyrocketing due to lack of supply. This was a double-edged sword for Carvana. On one hand, it meant a greater demand for used vehicles for them, but on the other, it meant that they needed to pay high prices themselves to secure their inventory. To a certain degree, this worked out okay for Carvana, but now they appear to be sitting on a lot of inventory that suddenly is valued far less. Directly speaking about Teslas, when I search for a Tesla Model Y on Carvana for Los Angeles, I get 7 pages of results. Flashback a few months ago, and this was nowhere near the case. Additionally, these used cars are still priced fairly high compared to Tesla's newly dropped prices. Some are still over Tesla's asking price. For the Model 3, I get 18 pages of results near me in Los Angeles. We don't know the back end on this for sure, but a good portion of these cars are likely ones Carvana bought at the top. The market dropped and Tesla dropped the Model 3 around $9,000, and now they have to sell them under Tesla's new pricing. Or they may try to sell them high like they are with this Model Y. Today, though, when buying new, this car is $58,000 and qualifies for a $7,500 tax credit. As detailed in a new Barron's article about Tesla's price drops and Carvana, quote, it's a big gap and another sign that this is an odd year for the car business. The economy is slowing and interest rates are rising, but sales still might rise because car production has been constrained for years by a lack of semiconductors. What's more, the new tax incentives should result in more EVs sold. IC Cars has reported that used prices for Teslas are coming down faster than other used cars, and this makes sense because of this double decrease we have seen here. One interesting thing to watch, though, will be how the market may recover due to supply and demand once again. Tesla is ramping production, but Model Y inventory is reportedly at a multi-month low due to high demand. It was rising quite a bit and then peaked right before Tesla dropped prices. Now their inventory is essentially non-existent. On top of that, as funny as it sounds, orders will likely increase after the Super Bowl. This happened last year, and Tesla even detailed this in their earnings report, calling it the Super Bowl effect. Their orders last year spiked after the Super Bowl, where many companies like GM were running ads for their own EVs. Tesla didn't advertise a single bit, but it seems to have gotten people excited for future EVs. They go online to order one, realize they're not even in production yet, and they can get a Tesla soon instead. This could happen again this year, which may lead to further increased Tesla wait times. As a result, linking back to Carvana, we could see used prices higher than new and actually selling once again. For customers who don't want to wait and won't qualify for a tax credit, they might be willing to buy from Carvana or others at increased prices. We'll have to see how it all develops, but to a certain degree, since the market is so interested in EVs right now, Tesla deciding to drop prices is affecting everything. It's pretty crazy to see. Next up today, a Tesla Model Y was selected to be a patrol vehicle for the Somerset Police Department in Wisconsin, and the financial results of that decision look pretty good. While there are many benefits of choosing electric over gas, the police chief mainly cited cash savings as the reason for the switch. He told Police One News, quote, we specifically choose the Tesla Model Y for the financial benefits. He predicts that in 10 years, the Model Y will save the department $80,000 because it won't have any oil changes, regen braking will extend the vehicle range over a gas car, and the battery is designed for 500,000 miles, which is longer than any gas car on the road. They shared photos of the interior of the updated Model Y, and you can see the detainee area, a fitted partition, and all their equipment in the front that fits seamlessly into this Model Y. This Tesla isn't the first to be turned into a government vehicle, though. In December of 2021, Tesla themselves custom-built a police patrol vehicle in the UK, and in April of last year, Dallas County incorporated a Model 3 into their fleet. Last up today, some updates about other automakers. Rivian has confirmed this week that they will be expanding into e-bikes. We've seen many hints that Rivian would enter this space, but this week, quote, Scaringe confirmed during the meeting that an e-bike isn't just in the plans, but that the first model is already actively being developed in-house. E-bike sales far outpace electric vehicle sales, so it's a space that can make sense, but this does come at an interesting time for Rivian. They've recently had a wave of layoffs, but e-bikes are much easier to develop and produce. This could be a part of Rivian's reasoning here, here, and it could be something that helps them in their struggles to profitability. We'll see if we get an announcement of their e-bike sometime in the next year or so. Over at Nissan, they are working on pilot production for solid-state batteries, with first production set for 2025. After initial work throughout 2026, they plan to have them inside vehicles by 2028, and are working with researchers at the University of Oxford on the project. Nissan's senior vice president for R&D in Europe said, "We think we have something quite special, and we are in a group leading the technology. Some of the key advantages they are looking for in these batteries are that, quote, we want to get the cost down compared with standard lithium-ion batteries by 50% to double the energy density and to offer 3 times the charging speed. These would be huge advantages, but we've heard a lot of talk about these batteries over the years with no scalable applications seen yet. If these advancements are possible though, I'm all for it, and it just shows how exciting the EV space is going to get as more and more companies are competing to scale the best EV technology possible." Over at BMW, they're accelerating their EV production plans by announcing a new investment of around $864 million in Mexico for their next generation EVs. They said, quote, "We are systematically gearing our production network towards electromobility. In Mexico, we are investing 800 million euros in our plant and creating around 1,000 new jobs. They plan to be adding volumes to their new class cars at the plant by 2027 onward. According to BMW, the new format will increase energy density by over 20%, the charging speed and range by up to 30%. Again, very exciting to see competition heating up in the future for EVs. It's a tough road, but competition is great for everyone." That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see my latest review of the Tesla Model Y, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.